Your houseplants have been generating electricity their entire lives, and nobody told you. A Dutch company used this process to light over 300 streetlights. A designer touched a peace lily on stage, the room went dark, and the plant began to glow. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to build it yourself. It costs less than a bag of potting soil. Let me start with the part nobody talks about. When most people hear the words electricity from plants, they picture a school science project. 2 copper nails jammed into a potato, a clock on a table, a teacher explaining that, yes, technically it produces a few microvolts, barely enough to nudge a needle. That version is real. It has been quietly killing this idea for 20 years. Every person who tried the copper nail version watched it corrode and die in 4 days and walked away, convinced the whole concept was a hoax. Here is what they got wrong. It was not the science, it was the materials. There is a critical difference between what they built and what is actually happening inside your soil right now. Here is what is actually going on beneath every pot of soil you own. And it is a lot stranger than anything the copper nail crowd stumbled onto. Plants overproduce, massively. They pull carbon dioxide out of the air, water up through their roots, and using sunlight, they turn those ingredients into sugar, glucose, the fuel of life. But here's the part your biology teacher glossed over. Plants are so good at making sugar that they cannot use all of it. So they do something remarkable. They pump the excess straight out through their roots into the surrounding soil. Studies from universities worldwide confirm that plants push between 5 and 21% of everything they produce out through their roots. Some species release as much as 40%. Think about what that means. Nearly half of everything a plant builds from sunlight just gets pushed into the dirt. This is not a flaw. It is a 400-million-year-old strategy. Those sugars attract bacteria, billions of them per gram of soil. They swarm the root zone and feast. In exchange, the bacteria break down locked minerals and deliver nutrients the plant cannot extract on its own. Nitrogen, phosphorus, iron. It is a biological economy running beneath every lawn, every forest, every rice field on Earth. Right now, continuously. But here is where it stops being interesting biology and starts being something you are going to want to tell someone about. When those bacteria break down the plant sugars, the chemical reaction releases electrons, raw electrical charge, loose electrons with nowhere to go. In normal soil, those electrons immediately get absorbed by nearby oxygen. The energy vanishes as low-grade heat into the ground. Gone. Your plant has been leaking electricity into its pot every single day, and the soil has been swallowing all of it. In 2008, a team of engineers at a leading agricultural university in the Netherlands figured out how to intercept it. The system they built is called a plant microbial fuel cell. The idea is almost shockingly simple. You create 2 zones inside a container of wet soil. One is an oxygen-free zone at the bottom, where the bacteria live. The other is an oxygen-rich zone near the top. You bury a piece of conductive carbon material in the bottom zone. That piece of carbon is your anode. Now here is the detail that floored me when I dug into the research. The bacteria do not just sit near the carbon and passively release charge. Certain species that live naturally in most soils on Earth actually grow protein filaments directly out of their own bodies. Scientists call them bacterial nanowires, biological wires, grown by a living organism that physically attach themselves to the surface of your carbon electrode. The University of Massachusetts described these structures in the journal Nature in 2005. Lab imaging confirmed they conduct electricity like actual metal wire. a single bacterium smaller than a human blood cell, growing conductive cables out of its own body and plugging itself into your electrode. Once attached, it multiplies. It recruits neighbors. They form a dense living coat on the carbon fibers called a biofilm. Thousands of bacteria, each one wired in, each one pushing electrons onto the anode. Those electrons accumulate. They want to reach the oxygen at the surface, but the wet, packed soil is blocking them. The only escape route is the wire you connected to the anode. They rush up through the wire, through whatever small device you have connected, and arrive at the cathode near the top of the soil. There they finally meet oxygen, combine with protons from the soil water, and form one molecule of pure water. That is the only byproduct of the entire process. Sunlight in, sugar out through the roots, electrons through your wire, water formed at the top. No combustion, no fuel consumed, no moving parts. The plant keeps growing. The bacteria keep reproducing. The cycle runs for as long as the plant is alive. Now here is where this stops being a lab curiosity and becomes something a city decided to actually build. In November 2014, a company called Plant E, a direct spin-off from that same Dutch university, launched a project called Starry Sky. They installed modular plant containers at an old ammunition site near Amsterdam. Each module contained native aquatic plants growing in soil fitted with carbon electrodes underneath. They connected the modules and ran the wires. And on a November evening, with a crowd standing in the park looking up, over 300 LED lights came on. Powered entirely by living plants and the bacteria feeding on their roots. Not a single solar panel, not a single connection to the electrical grid. The grass was already there. The soil was already there. The bacteria were already there. Plant E simply buried the carbon mesh and collected what nature had been giving away for free. A Dutch designer went even further. She built a lamp called the Living Light, powered entirely by a single potted peace lily. No cable, no battery, no socket. You touch the leaf, a sensor detects it, and the lamp glows. The electricity comes from the plant itself. She then worked with the city of Rotterdam to light a 35-meter walking path through a public park using the plants already growing along it. A trail in a European city lit entirely by biology. No power lines, no trenching, just dirt, roots, bacteria, and carbon mesh. So if this is real, if a Dutch city lit 300 streetlights with it, if a designer put a glowing plant on a stage and it worked, why is this not everywhere? Why does almost nobody know about it? Here is where I think most coverage of this gets it wrong, and I want to give you the honest version. The first reason is power output. Right now, plant microbial fuel cells generate roughly 0.4 watts per square meter of plant growth. A solar panel in direct sunlight produces between 150 and 200 watts per square meter. That gap is enormous. Engineers know this. The technology is not being suppressed. It is being developed. A major review published in November of 2024 confirmed the theoretical maximum output sits around 3.2 watts per square meter. Research labs in the Netherlands, field trials across Asia, and university programs worldwide are using advanced electrode materials and optimized microbial communities to close that gap right now. The second reason is economic. The global energy industry runs on centralized infrastructure, power plants, transmission lines, monthly bills. A technology that generates small amounts of electricity from plants already growing in the ground, with no fuel cost and no moving parts, is genuinely hard to build a business model around. Not because it threatens anyone, but because the bacteria do not require a subscription. They eat sugar and push electrons regardless of who owns the patent. The third reason is the one that kills most home experiments: the material gap. The critical component in this system is carbon felt, an industrial material, not sold at hardware stores, not stocked at garden centers. Most people who try this at home grab copper wire. Copper corrodes in wet soil within days. It releases toxic ions that poison the bacteria, poison the plant, and produce zero readable voltage. They walk away convinced the whole concept is fake. The failure was never the science. It was always the wrong materials. Here is my honest take after going through the research on this. The technology is real. The science is not fringe. Studies published as recently as 2024 and 2025 confirm it works, and the applications are getting more practical every year. Researchers have used plant microbial fuel cells to power sensors in remote wetlands, monitoring water level, temperature, and soil conditions with no batteries and no maintenance required. That is not a demonstration anymore. That is infrastructure. Is it going to power your refrigerator? No, not today. Anyone telling you otherwise is selling something. But here is what it can do right now, with materials that cost less than a bag of potting soil. One pot produces roughly 0.3 to 0.7 volts. Wire 5 together and you get enough to run a small LED array continuously. Wire 10 together and you are powering a garden sensor that will never need a battery. You are watching a 400 million-year-old energy system push electrons through a wire you put in the dirt. That shift in how you see it is hard to undo. Northwestern University published research in early 2024 on a soil-powered fuel cell designed to run indefinitely, powered purely by organic carbon already in the ground. Researchers described it as a potentially permanent solution for remote sensing without batteries. That is not hype. That is what the data shows. And it starts with the same setup you can build on your windowsill today: a plastic bucket or any non-metal container. 2 pieces of carbon felt, available online for $8 to $15. Use stainless steel wire, not copper. A peace lily or umbrella papyrus, both easy to find and both strong rooters. Potting soil mixed with a handful of mature compost. Bury the first piece of carbon felt flat at the bottom. Pack wet soil tightly on top. Add a thin sand separator layer. Lay the second piece of carbon felt near the surface. Plant the peace lily and water it thoroughly. Keep the soil wet, not just damp, wet. In week 1, your multimeter reads almost nothing. Do not touch it. The bacteria are finding the carbon. In week 2, the numbers begin to climb. By week 3 or week 4, you stabilize somewhere between 0.3 and 0.7 volts. Wire 5 pots together and you have a glow. Wire 10 and you have something genuinely functional. And when someone visits your home, notices that faint light in the corner, and asks where it is plugged in, you tell them, into the dirt. And you watch their face change. That is what this technology does before it ever powers a city. It changes what people believe is possible. If this shifted how you see the soil under your feet, hit subscribe. There is a lot more coming. I will see you in the next one.